Well, good evening, fellow zombies. How are we doing? Are we hanging in there? Are we sleep deprived yet? Are we emotionally screwed up? Welcome to the diary of the griever named John Weaver. And it's me. Time index right now is 6:15 p.m. It is the 13th of October. Can I say it October? It's October, right? Okay, so it's 2022. Yeah, I'm losing it. About normal. I saw nearly the last public session concerning about the Trump insanity that we had on January 6th, and everyone else going hell in a handbasket. And every so often, the news media love to have a field day concerning about how we Americans are doing towards each other, and if we're whether or not we're going to try killing each other just for the fun of it. Scary, isn't it? I find it scary because right now we're dealing with something that we should not have been dealing with in the first place. We're dealing with insanity at the ultimate level here. I mean, we're planning on killing each other just for democracy or our own version of democracy. And the hell with what was written and followed throughout 250 or 60 years that this country has been trying to survive. Now we got to tear it apart because of the Trump shit. We got to go crazy because of the extremists. And this isn't the first time. This isn't the first time. The Civil War was one thing, but back in 1940 in World War II, we also had a Christian nation trying to create itself and take over the country with armed militia, seriously planning on kicking ass on Americans and taking over Congress and the presidency and everywhere. An absolute coup by a damn minister. A Christian minister. Information is out there. When you have people trying to verify this information, it's scary as hell, especially when I've heard some of the information and documentation, and I'm like, no, I'm not dealing with this one here. I've got one eye on CNN, who's trying to do an in-depth thing concerning about the insurrection that we've had last year, the 2021 season for it, and because of that insurrection, we're coming up on a second year that's happened. That's already been over with, and we're dealing with more information about it, on how it started, and who started it, and everything else. And I'm still hearing conspiracy theorists online still saying that no, all of it is fake news. What was shown on live television was not fake news, especially people trying to kill each other left and right. Hold on a second. I know that when we had Trump in office, it was going to be a very difficult presidency. But no one had expected that extremism was going to be the absolute norm. Nobody had a clue that we were going to be this way, except the extremists. And he's riding high on the damn thing. And when the 2020 elections came up, he was so sure that he was winning, and then everything else was falling behind. He started going on the attack. Well, actually, he had made plans. People thought this guy was stupid. So did I. He's shrewd. He's acting. He's plotting, planning everything. But this guy couldn't even graduate the college he was in. No, shrewd manipulator. That's what he was. Still is. still is manipulating everything right now. And it's terrifying. Terrifying to understand that this guy has that much power over everybody. His influence, his promises, and kept them, but he charmed people left and right to the point where they believed in this crap. And now we got to have a war over him or about him. Whoever expected that extremists would be running the political system. We have media driving themselves crazy over the misinformation being poured out since 2016 and other investigations happening that do we actually understand what the hell is going on anymore? We see it, we read about it, we've experienced it, but some people say, no, that's false because that's fake news. That's fake news. And how do we look at it as fake news? Because we're told. And the ones who are knowing about the real information, those people are supposed to be sheeple because they're called by the others who got scammed and didn't even realize it and didn't give a shit. They bought the lie and they call everybody else sheeple. They know the truth. They say they know the ultimate truth. The Q tells them so. Or this tells them so. Or that tells them so. I really did not expect that when we got into the election cycle, there were going to be people out there protesting in the most violent way because they wanted their favorite candidate there. In most elections, and in the history I remember about elections, violence was never the answer concerning about the candidate or wanting the candidate to be the right one. To have an insurrection regarding a voting count, I mean, it's one thing to have a coup running. A lot of people with guns are going to be going over to the politicians and point them in their face and says, "You're going to be out of office one way or another because we, the people with the guns, say so. We got everybody in states have just people. And we're going to take over the country. And we're going to run it right. Per the Constitution. See, we got the right to bear arms, and we got arms we're bearing right now. And you guys are out of office because we're not voting you out. We're pushing you out." And that was the thing concerning about the January 6th insurrection. People with guns and people with an attitude go through the doors, bust through glasses left and right, glass windows, and squishing people left and right because they wanted their own candidate in office. And the election was already over. It was already certified, but nobody believed in it. Nobody believed in it at all. Because you got these weirdos coming out there saying, "Look what we got here, guys. We think everybody else is lying to us, so this time we're doing it right. We're going to get our candidate back in office." So it doesn't matter if everything was being certified and being proper and legal. They didn't believe in a legal process. And to go stick a gun in someone's face, to have a shootout in a public place. What gets to me is when you get the lone wolves coming out, and they're going to try making their own damn case. It scares the hell out of me when we have this kind of situation. It's bad enough when you have a former president right now pushing that kind of agenda. I wouldn't be surprised if he played chess. Old number 45. I wouldn't be surprised if he played chess at all. Because that way he's looking at every damn move on the chessboard. Every possible combination. Man, we got this bastard all wrong, but somebody who playing the game that long, shit. I might as well keep this thing short anyway. And I'm going to have to devote another video when I so feel like I'm up to it to talk about things like this in more detail. Normally I deal with my own personal issues, my own personal griefs, but I'm also dealing with my own observations, what I'm coming across, what I'm learning more and more about. And this is getting to me. I'm listening about stuff like this. More and more about how people are listening to the malarkey left and right and yet blame others for it. If something happened and maybe they were part of the cause, they'd still blame it on somebody else because they don't accept responsibility or accountability or transparency. And they apparently don't support anybody like that in the first place. They like people to lie to them. Well, they said, oh, the politicians have been doing that to us. What's the problem here? The problem here is also sometimes the politicians have different motives for what they do. They all swear in the Constitution of the United States. They're not perfect, they're human. But they're not here to screw up the entire country or everybody else. They still want to keep their jobs, so to speak. But it's not happening because we don't want them to keep their jobs. We want new people. But the thing is, they keep re-electing the old people in the office. That's the problem. And when they vote somebody else in office and they're talking about destroying the country one way or another or anybody else and bringing up other conspiracy shit, we're going to have to go over this conspiracy theories left and right. Because I probably would need to talk about it, but not just yet. I should.